The third question was, is it okay for a man to make the first move? The arguments you wrote down for it were... So for one, making the first move shows the other person that you're confident in yourself and not afraid to take a risk. The second argument, it can make the other person feel valued as it's a sign of your interest in them. The third argument for it, it sets the tone for a relationship in which the woman respects the man as a leader and provider. Arguments against it. If it's unwanted or uncalled for, it can be very invasive and disrespectful. Another argument against it. If it could be seen as to invalidate a person's right to choose who they want to pursue. A third argument. It may put people in a position they don't feel comfortable with and could even be seen as predatory.
I've got different conflicting views about this. So, when I was growing up, a message that I had kind of rammed into me was equality. And I believe that wholeheartedly. But the thing is this, so like my brain is quite a literal brain and I take things very logically. So when I'm hearing equality, my brain goes all across the board. And every potential area that could be, which then means, oh, hold on, I'm talking about the wrong thing. Because we were talking about men making the first move. Actually, no, this does kind of work. Actually.
I was thinking...
It does kind of work. No, it kind of does. So then that would then mean that, okay, so if there's inequality, then obviously it's not down to the man to make a specific move because men and women are equals. Then also, like growing up, you would see movies where, usually in a movie or a TV show, when a man and woman kiss, it's usually the woman who makes the first move, usually. And then you would also see in TV shows and movies where there's some horrible, creepy man who makes a woman feel uncomfortable by he touches her when she doesn't want to be touched, or he pulls her in for a kiss when she doesn't want to be pulled in for a kiss, and he does things that make her feel really uncomfortable. You don't want to be like that either. So in between that, like the desire for equality and seeing, okay, well, clearly if a woman wants X, she will do it, and I don't want to be like one of these creepy molester, rapist kind of men, I would have back in the day thought, okay, no, men shouldn't make the first move, and that if a woman wants to do X, Y, and Z, she'll let you. But now, I don't really have that opinion. So if a woman wants to make the first move, absolutely fine. I don't think it's like a woman shouldn't do it because it's the man's job or the man's duty. But I think realistically, if there's a man and a woman who are together and they're on some sort of date or what have you, 9 times out of 10, 95 times out of 100, if he doesn't make the move, it's not going to happen. So if they're going to end up having sex or being married or whatever, he's going to make the move. So that's pretty much it.
My point of it is, I think whoever feels like making the first move should do it, just because life is short. So like putting gender aside, I don't know if like the other person is not like too shy, or maybe I'm not like, you know, maybe he's reading too much into it in the second. So if I feel like making the first move, I should try to do it.
Do you though?
No, because I rarely am in a situation where I'm like, I want to, but I'm not gonna do it because of societal norms. It's usually just like, you know, you see someone who you look at who's like conventionally attractive. That doesn't mean it's gonna be someone you're attracted to. It's oftentimes just someone with a beautiful face that you're like appreciating.
Okay. But we're talking about two different things. So you're talking about...
I know, I am aware of what the difference is, but I am speaking on why I personally, for example, don't. And I think every person should choose that for themselves. If you're, for example, a woman who doesn't value traditional gender roles that much, maybe you're gonna have like less of a hard time to talk to someone, assuming you're not like shy or you don't have social anxiety. Like make the first move. No,
but that's not... Okay, but this is it. So we are actually misunderstanding each other, because when I was talking about making the first moves, I was talking about, say, you're on a date with someone at some point, who's gonna go in for the kiss, that kind of thing. That's kind of what I was talking about.
That was my next point. Of course, you have to define what is the first move, because it can be something like, from my perspective, I made the first move because with my body language I showed to you that I'm available and I'm interested. And like, for example, 3 months down the line of our relationship, you're gonna say, no, I did the first move because I asked you out, or I did the first kiss. So a lot of women think that they didn't make the first move, or they did make the first move, and it depends, because for a lot of women it's like showing to you I'm like, open to you asking me out is maybe the first move. But for me, I think it's really important to just read the room. For example, there's a time and place for everything. Something that's maybe not as, how do you say, smart is, for example, hitting on a girl in the gym, because something for a lot of women, the gym might be like already like a big, how do you say, like obstacle to go there. And something like this might make someone uncomfortable. And that's just like one example of a place where you might not want to like do that. Like, for example, at night at the bus stop, where she might already like maybe be a little bit paranoid. Like, set aside whatever your intention is and what a nice guy you are. There's a time and place for everything. And of course a manner, because if you gonna hit on someone, you're gonna have to be like taking the risk of rejection, and you have to gonna like, it's inevitable, like as men and women, to get to the place where you work on yourself and reflect what rejection means to you, what you want, your self-worth, that it's not gonna put you in a place where you feel so rejected that it sets you like back and you will never like speak to a woman again. And of course that also means, like, as a woman, if a guy approaches you in a respectful manner, there's also like no need to like, I don't know, just crush them, just like with any other human being. So I think like whoever wants to make the first move should make the first move. I'm not gonna like, if I ever am in a situation where I feel like I'm making the first move, I would, and I probably already did, but generally speaking, I like being, approached.
Okay, so you probably already did.
Yes, of course.
So you've been in situations where you were with someone and you either said, will you go out with me, or will you give me your number, something like that.
Yes.
Or you leaned in for the kiss.
Probably. Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay.
It's because I don't have a problem to it per se, but like I have to be in a situation where the motivation is strong enough for me to go for it, because for me, part of dating is being, for example, approached. Because I'm a princess, like you said before. But that's gonna like, be from one individual to the other different.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you would do it. You feel like you've probably done it. But if you have, you can't necessarily remember because it wasn't that big of a deal, but you think it's something that you would.
And I've been rejected before, like it's part of the game,
Rejected how?
Like, no, thank you, not interested, I don't know.
So you've specifically asked men out and they've rejected you?
Yes, like if you approach someone, part of how beautiful it could be if they say, yes, I would love to, is knowing they might as well say, no, I can't, I'm not interested, I have a girlfriend, something like that, But then you just leave with your dignity and say like, okay, have a nice day.
And how often have you asked men out?
You want me to put a number to?
Because most women never do it at all. So I'm sitting here talking to a woman who's saying to me, hey Kieran, I've asked men out and I've been rejected. That's very interesting.
Like I'm very curious. I'm a social person, so I don't know like what the average measurement is, but I'm gonna be more exposed to a situation. And maybe I've done it like, I don't know if you want a number to it, like maybe 10 times the last year. And it's gonna be just like 5% in total of my social experiences, or like generally like the starting point, just like in relation. So like how it always depends on how much you're exposed to a possibility of talking to someone and if you take the opportunity or not. Because if you barely go out, but like 5 out of 10 times you approached first, it's a high number.
I hear what you're saying, because you're saying that there's the fact that you're open to doing it in conjunction to the fact that you go out a certain amount of times, which means it's likely to happen more or less based on how often you go out and blah blah blah. I do get that, but what I'm basically saying is everything you've said, which you're kind of glossing over, is incredibly novel. For instance, I am a good-looking man. I could count on one hand the amount of times I've been asked out. I mean, it's maybe happened twice in my entire life or so. That's not really my experience at all. And it's not the experience of most men. So it's just very unusual, but in a good way, right? This isn't a bad thing at all. But you're just here casually saying that you will see men that you want to speak to and that you will go up to them and try and talk to them and risk that rejection. Because that isn't something that most women are prepared to do. It isn't. And
in your
I'm very
experience,
curious.
maybe like in my friend circles, that's not like uncommon. Again, like maybe I'm talking in my bubble and you're in your bubble.
Maybe.
And that's also why this talk is good, because for me it's like not a novel thing, not unusual, you know?
Well, okay, here's the thing. I hear what you're saying about bubbles, but it's kind of like this. So, as a man, the majority of men judge women very harshly for their sexual history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, you go on a date with some man and you say, hey, I've had sex with 400 people. Most men are gonna really react negatively to that. I'm not one of them. I wouldn't care at all. I'd be like, okay, I hope you had fun. And I hope you learned some stuff during all those experiences that you can use to give me a great time when we have sex. Boom. But that's not really a case of me being in a bubble per se. It's kind of the way things are. The vast majority of women don't actually approach men. Like, they don't. So you might get a website like Bumble, which is where the woman makes the first move. And yeah, she says hi. But then after she said hi, everything else is down to the man. He's still leading the conversation and still asking for the date, etc. So I do get what you're saying, that maybe you are friends with certain people, certain women who are more forward, more open-minded to give
I
less
think
of crap.
it's also a generational difference, because for Gen Z it's maybe also different, something that's becoming more and more normal.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, because I know loads of people in that generation. And in fact, your generation, the Gen Z generation as you call it, those guys are having way less sex than any other generation at all, because they're absolutely terrified of talking to people. In fact, it's something like 30% of men under 30 haven't had sex in the past year. Or they're virgins.
Moment of silence for those poor men.
And yeah, because they're absolutely terrified of doing things like going out and making the first move. But that generation, they've got more fear going on in their minds than any other one.
What I've noticed is like guys having their ego being such a big part, probably because like talking to someone with less risks, like for example through dating apps or something, is always an easier opportunity than approaching someone in real life, which makes it even more impressive if like someone comes up to me with good energy and talks to me, whatever the outcome is, if we actually hit it off or don't. But like I've experienced, and my friends too, a lot like that. For example, someone messages me on Instagram or somewhere and I don't get back in them in time, whatever that might be. Sometimes it just takes me longer to respond, sometimes I respond within a second. They don't know that, but I've had it happen so often that they feel like, you know, I haven't seen their message yet. For example, overnight, it recently happened to me that he unsent the message in the morning, and that just gave me such an ick, because you message me with the risk of me not replying. Take it. And don't like, that was a coward move in my eye, to be honest, and I was like glad I didn't respond.
You ever have guys lose their temper?
Yes, of course, and that's like all things. I feel like it's a blessing in disguise if that happens because early on, because it tells me you're like not the right person for me to be around me.
You want to know why they do that?
Enlighten me.
All right. So when he's lost his temper, so he's messaged you, he sent whatever, and you didn't respond quick enough, or you didn't respond at all, whatever. He's not losing his temper at you. I mean, he is, but he's not. It's not really about you. So it's like a cumulative effect. So he's lost his temper, or he's unsent the message because of every time he's done that. So all of the messages that he's sent where he has tried to get some woman's attention and he feels like he's being ignored, and who knows how many times that's happened, but it's happened again and again and again and again, and each time it happens the resentment kind of builds. So then it's like he messages you and he meets you however the hell he met you, and he throws out a message. Now in the background there's still the lingering resentment of all of this constant cumulative rejection that he's faced, but it's not there in the moment because he's just it's not there in the forefront in the moment because he's just messaging you. But then he messages you, and then here we go, there's just another fucking woman who doesn't give a shit at all.
Yeah.
He's just like, you're just there like, here I am living my life
And
as a girl.
Oh, I wasn't interested in you anyway. Who do you think you are? You're like, I don't know, uglier than my ex. You don't know who I dated. It's like, yes, good, proving a point, stay the fuck away from me. Like, why would you unload this resentment? Like, I accept that people have their experiences and I choose to stay away from them as good as I can and shield myself from them unloading whatever the fuck this is on me. Like, go to fucking therapy, we all deal with shit. I don't know. I have zero tolerance for that. That's like I have tolerance for a lot of things, and that's one of the things I will not tolerate around me, because I work on myself constantly and I don't think I will ever be done. I'm not on level that I'm like mission accomplished, and so is so are the people around me, and I expect that from whoever approaches me. And if I see the first telling sign that you don't do that, it's gonna be like what I filter you off based off.
Most people don't work on themselves, because sadly to work on yourself you have to look in the mirror. And looking in the mirror is very painful.
That's true.